as we feature the most loved personalities and the best practices of what we truly refer to as Magis. Together with multi-awarded multimedia guru Mr. Noel Ferrer, let's all level up every Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM. Good morning, Ateneo. Start your day right with your morning wake-up call. Good morning, Ateneo. Energize your day with the lively, funny, and lovely tandem of Mir de Los Santos and Tats Kidlat. Catch the latest news and stories around the campus. Good morning, Ateneo. Your daily dose of radio chikahan, tawanan, kantahan, and kwentuhan. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Tuesdays to Fridays. Good morning, Ateneo. Your mornings will never be the same again. Join Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as he delivers to us the preachings of the Sunday's Gospel that's awe-inspiring, yet easy to understand and appreciate. Let us all listen to the Word of God here on The Word Exposed on Air, only on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugod. Todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiting at tigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan.
Meron? Ano nga ba ang meron? Paano nga bang mabuhay ng tapat sa meron? Don't you wish you can relive your philo classes? The terror teachers? The terrible oral exams? Or the even terrifying but liberating and life-changing aha moments? Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Here's your chance! Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Kasama ang mga pilosopong sina Jovi Miroy at Ron Capinding. Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Leaping upward, leaping forward. Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Leaping to greater heights, to greater wisdom, to greater magis. Lundag na, Ateneo!
Magandang hapon.
Magandang hapon po sa mga Magandang hapon, Sir Jovi. Magandang hapon po sa lahat na nakikinig sa amin ngayon. Isa na namang Lunes ng hapon dito sa Lundagin mo, Beybeh. At muli, nandito tayo ulit para palalimin ang mga parang mabababaw at pag-aanin ng tila malalalim. Bababa yung tila malalalim. Kasama natin si Sir Jovi. Ngayon po ay nandito tayo sa ating March shows na talagang ating iniukol para kay St. Joseph na pintakasi na
kasi
ama.
sa Friday na ang kanyang kasi si Year of St. Joseph. At saka
St. Joseph at ang
Presidente
eksakto
ng Amerika ay si Joe Biden.
Wow, yun ba? So, this whole March, medyo dinivote namin kay St. Joseph o at least yung mga teams na may kinalaman sa kanya. Nag-usap kami tungkol sa pagkalalaki dahil National Women's Month din ngayon nung 2 Mondays ago. And last Monday, tungkol naman sa pagiging tungkol sa pagkaama yung 2 Mondays ago.
Yung una.
Tapos, last Monday naman ay tungkol sa pagiging sa pagkalalaki.
Kung gusto pa yun ngayon.
Usapan natin. Oo nga, kung meron pa bang ganun. At ngayon naman, si St. Joseph din kasi ang pintakasi ng mga manggagawa. Siya ang patron saint ng mga manggagawa. Yun yung aspetong yun ang gusto naman natin pag-usapan. Kaya kami ay merong
exciting.
Kinalulugod namin na itampok sa hapong ito ang aming panauwing pagdangal. Si Sir Jovi ang magpapakilala sa kanya dahil kaklase niya.
Kung mga klase kami ni Melay. Kabatch ko, 87.
Kabatch.
The golden batch. As all batches think they are. Pero kasi di ba, ang grupo niyan, si Senator Risa, dapat yan naging politiko din eh. Tanungin na lang natin siya ang pinagpipitagan ng mga estudyante na si Ma'am Melay Abao.
Hello.
Ng Paul Science.
Maganda. Teka, let me just... Okay.
Po, Ma'am Melay, maraming salamat po sa pagpapa-unlock niyo sa amin dito sa Lundagin mo, Beybeh. Gusto namin pag-usapan ng... Ano pong pabagat natin ngayon, Sir Jovi? Labor
Binago
issues.
nila Labor Matters and the Pandemic. Joseph the Worker. Para hindi na masyadong
Labor Matters during the pandemic. And then, pero ang talagang ating, kaya tayo nandito ay dahil nga isang aspeto rin yun ng
hindi naman yata buo ang larawan ni San Jose. Masyadong payos yung ating larawan. Siya hindi talagang manggagawa. Hindi. So si San Jose ay talagang manggagawa naman. Saka talaga naghahanap lang ako ng occasion para pag-usapan itong topic na ito.
Okay. So, patagal na. Pati hindi ng Valentine's Day.
Oo nga, dapat ng Valentine's Day ito eh.
Okay. So, nandito si Ma'am Carmel na Miss Melay dahil siya ay nagtuturo rin sa faculty, no? Hindi ko nag-iisip.
Siya ay one of our professors in LS ng political science.
Yes,
Melay,
political science.
Ano nga ba ang background natin sa labor matters?
Well, I very early on I was involved. I was a volunteer of the Workers' College when I was in college in Ateneo. And then immediately after that, I actually worked for Workers' College full-time. So my first job was as a labor organizer. I remember this was the 1980s eh. So this was a time na parang wala na si Marcos. So we had to learn how to do collective bargaining. Everyone had to learn how to do collective bargaining because before that, the labor movement was about, anti-imperialism, anti-dictatorship, etc. So this was the time where workplace issues dumami. So I joined that, and then eventually I joined Lakas Manggagawa Labor Center. That's a national center, a national labor center. I was the education secretary, and then I moved on to NGOs. I worked for IPD, Institute for Popular Democracy, which worked more with political reforms. And then I ended up in Ateneo 2008. I started teaching, I think 2008. And currently, I'm also the president of the Ateneo Loyola Schools Faculty Association, or ALSFA. So parang, doon ako nagsimula, dito ulit ako. Tapos, I had my PhD pa. My dissertation was on unionism in the automotive industry. So, yeah, I guess I've had a lot of background, I guess, on also labor
Kasama ba dyan ng
issues.
Honda? Kilala kaming taga-Honda.
Yes.
Oo.
Oh, hirap sila.
Alright.
Hirap lahat sila.
Yun
Okay.
is-
So yan. So notice sa Ron, yung batch namin, yun, marami dyan talaga, they walk the talk.
Yeah, exactly. A workers' college, lakas manggagawa, NGOs, talagang, yun talagang sinundang path ni Miss Melay. Ako naman sa Polisay, isa lang ang kurso ko sa Polisay dahil sa Pilo Major, no? Si Ma'am Shirley Advincula lang ang aking teacher sa Constitution, no? At yun nga, so yung ibang kurso sa Polisay, hindi ko pa alam. So, ito pa lang. So when you say workers' college, paano po yun? They are, parang
Actually,
oxymoron yun, workers'
yeah.
college. Parang kumbaga, paaralan ng mga workers? Parang gano'n.
Yes, exactly.
Ah.
Exactly. Actually, ang Workers College was part of a Center for Community Services. This was actually the social development arm of Ateneo, no? In some senses. So, CCS was composed of various sectors. So, kasama yung meron nung ORD, Office of Rural Development. So, yun namang nagtatrabaho for the farmer sector. Tapos merong Likas, which is now Health Dev, no? So before there was Center for Social Policy, before there was Ateneo School of Government, and before all those things, there was the CCS. We used to call it the CCS. So we were all under that. So because at the time, parang para siyang walking the talk then about people's empowerment. Parang ganun. Kasi this was the immediately after EDSA nga eh. So,
Yun nga, Miss Melay, yung nabanggit mo kanina, very interesting para sa akin, na nung nakaalis si Marcos, ang mga alam ng mga laborers or workers tungkol sa work ay tungkol lang sa mga areas na ito. Hindi nila alam yung masyado yung collective bargaining, yung lahat, iba pang lahat pag-aralan. They were so into ano ba yung mga issues nila nung may Marcos pa na they have to outgrow and move on from after the Marcos. Paano po ba yun?
Yes. And you know, at that time, very telling yung, ewan ko ba kung, di ba yung tinatawag nating false consciousness, yung bang maliit yung sahod nila, ang tingin nilang sagot ay overtime ng overtime.
Ayun.
So at that time, our advocacies were as basic as paying overtime, so ganun, maraming issues
Bayad
talaga.
sa holiday.
Yeah, parang very basic na entitlements yung pinaglalaban at that time. So,
Right.
Pero Miss Melay, ako rin po, yung very basic din yung alam ko. So ano po ba yung hindi basic? Na magandang maaral din nila. Ano yun din ang alam ko if you want to earn more, mag-overtime.
Yeah. No, I think the point then was to talk about labor rights, diba? And an environment where you could exercise your labor rights. So, hindi halimbawa alam ng mga tao na ang karapatan natin, yung 8-hour, karapatan natin na mamahinga naman after 8 hours of work in a day, diba? So, kung maliit, dapat you should be compensated sufficiently for that already. Diba?
And
you don't have to work
minimum
overtime
wage, then the living
Yes,
wage.
and living wage, sobrang aspirational lang yan. Hindi yan nangyayari.
Pero minimum wage. Kasama yan sa pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Ano na ang nangyayari sa labor rights sa
Nga. Parang medyo ibang template ngayon. Kasi to make someone work 8 hours at home, parang medyo iba yata.
Anyway, kahit sinabi ko kanina, let's avoid labor issues in Ateneo. Ikaw ba, Ron, meron kang labor issues ngayon?
Yes. Totoo naman. Labor issues. Kasi member din ako ng Actor. Actor is a group of celebrities. At sila rin, even before the pandemic, of Eddie Garcia Bill, but lahat na may mga kinalaman sa bakit kami required mag-overtime. At ngayon pa, may quarantine. Meron silang lock-in at bubble. bakit dapat sagot na nila yung pati yung paglabas namin para safe kami paglabas at safe pagpasok. So maraming mga karapatan na
Yan
gano'n na.
pala, yan. You can have a
sobrang
conversation.
So ang alam ko lang sa Ateneo, as a teacher, iniingatan din na hindi kami laging nasa screen. So how do you
Tsaka
quantify?
Ron, dati ano ka, di ba? Meron ka mga tao sa under you bilang admin, mga sikyo.
Yes. So, nung admin, syempre, like university-wide naman yung mga nangyayari dating mga issues doon. So, nababalitaan ko rin yun. Pero more than that, right now, I'm a teacher, no? Interesting, paano na nga ba ang pag-define ng labor, ng 8-hour job? Baka mamaya, paano ko yun nga, siguro yun ang gusto ko itanong kay Miss Nelay. Now that, ngayon pong pandemic, labor matters naman to during the pandemic. Ngayon pong pandemic, kailangan bang ma-revise yung 8-hour regular work ng isang tao? O ma-redefine? Kasi po parang...
I guess ma-redefine dapat. Depende kung nasan ka. Kasi halimbawa, may iba-ibang klaseng manggagawa eh. Diba? Imaginein mo halimbawa, health workers. Yung 24/7 sila, hindi sila pwede mapahinga. Diba? So, pero dapat nagpapahinga sila. Kasi, diba, if you're a giver of health, you have to be healthy yourself. So, but that's not the case. So, kailangan tignan ano yung health risk sa iba't ibang klaseng manggagawa. So, for professors like us, ang health risk is yung sobrang online, di ba, yung exposure to the screen, right?
Yeah.
So in other words, you need to redefine what is an occupational safety, what is an occupational safety and hazard issue. Ano ang health issue sa workplace at this time? Kasi iba-iba din yan. For those who have to go to work, for example, even just going to work is a health risk. This is why you have to talk about transportation. Diba? Wala naman yung mga sasakyan. So, pag sumakay ka ng bus, ligtas ka ba? Diba? Pagdating mo sa pabrika o sa kumpanya, sino magbabayad ng swab test mo? Sinong, diba? Kung magkasakit ka, dahil doon sa exposure mo, paano yun? So, yun yung mga health risk. I have some figures here, but this is of last year. I haven't looked at the latest figures. This is August 2020. The DOH said there were 5,008 health workers. So more than 5,000 health workers had been affected and almost 40 had died. 38 had died. Okay? So health is really a big issue. How do you keep workers from theoretically, well, not theoretically, legally, naglabas na yung DOLA last year pa lang ng regulations na wala dapat cost sa mga manggagawa. Dapat employers ang nag-shoulder ng cost. Okay? So, swab test, ng PPE, ng lahat ng kailangan mo para makapagtrabaho kahit may COVID. But of course, that's easier said than done. That's a directive.
Yes.
But
that's very clear sa celebrity, sa aktor na kilala ko, no? Matatalo yung producers kung sasagutin nila lahat. Di ba? Kasi tumaas ang cost ng producer ng pelikula. Para i-house mo sila, they cannot go home. You lock them in like a hotel or a resort, and you keep them for 14 days, 24/7 yan, the 24 hours nasa iyo. So yung swab test at lahat, pagkain, tumaas talaga eh. So to the point na nagpapakabait naman yung iba kasi mamaya sumuko yung producers, wala rin naman mangyari. So parang ganon. So in the same way, dito rin po, nasasagutin ng employers, it's easier said than done. Kasi baka magsasara yung employer.
Yes. Although of course, that has to be really, kasi meron din namang mga employers na ginagawa ang COVID as pretext. you
Yun.
know, just to cut
Magiging
costs
ano
and
din yan.
yes. So,
nga.
but there are also employers na hirap talaga because there's already lower demand for everything given COVID.
Yeah.
Right? There's
Yeah.
lower demand for goods. Who needs makeup? I don't know. Maybe people still need makeup. Pero parang, who really needs makeup or, you know, new stuff
Yeah.
during COVID? Who needs,
Or rubber
I mean,
shoes, rubber shoes.
rubber shoes
why
baka
would you buy
kailangan
rubber-
pa eh. Kasi mag-exercise ka eh. Hindi,
Oo
pero,
nga.
diba? Pero ibig sabihin, there's lower demand for everything. Diba? So ano na yan? Grabe na yung impact niyan sa ekonomiya. So,
Yeah.
so yun, talagang, kaya nga may dapat social protection, diba? Pero,
Yes. So how bad is
Sakali
it,
po-
Mela? How bad is it sa unemployment at saka sa meron bang underwaging ngayon yung ginagamit na pretext yung
yes, well, I'm not very familiar with all the cases, no? I just know the OFW cases. So, pagdating sa wages, ang phenomenon sa OFWs is yung tinatawag na wage theft. Hindi lang wage loss kasi halimbawa, na-stranded siya o pinatigil siya bigla. Yung dapat na bayad niya doon, hindi na siya binayaran. Parang thank you na lang.
sa abroad yan, ha? Sa abroad yan.
Yes.
Kalakaran
So,
sa abroad.
yeah, so I assume meron din dito, especially those yung hindi na talaga na monitor eh. So definitely sa wages may reduction of wages. Either that's because
So
of the reduction
hindi na
of
mo-monitor.
Yeah, pero paano yung theft? Interesado ako doon. Paano wage theft? Paano po nangyari sa OFW? So, hindi
Yeah.
na nga sila nagtrabaho, but do they keep on working? Or
no, yes, the whole time that they were working and then it was stopped, parang, pero the contract was, you call that, live, diba? Parang may kontrata pa sila, wala na. So, maraming ganong, and then while they were stranded, for example, so marami talaga iba-ibang situations na what we
Kilala mo
do
ba,
them
Ron,
was,
yes. Ron, kilala mo
Sino
ba
si?
si Virginia San Diego? Good afternoon.
Baka kilala ko ito, pero hindi Virginia siguro. No? Hello, thank you for greeting, Virginia San Diego. Yeah.
Alam mo, Melay, marami din sa nakikinig dito. Not now, though. Later, pag yung recording papanood. Mga atinista na nag-trabaho abroad. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kasi pwede
talagang
even after our time slot eh. Ang tanong ko, unang tanong ko, yung mga employer, saklaw din ba siya kasama rin ba sila sa iniingatan? Yung employer, iniingatan ng labor laws, or we are more focused on the employees? O meron din, kumbaga, ang laging simplistic tingin dyan, kalaban ng employer, ang labor groups. Yun ba yung, nag-freeze ako. Ako ba ay nawala sa...
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Sige, parang lagi ang perception ay kalaban ng employer ang mga labor groups. So, paano po ba yan? O meron ding sarili?
Well, you know, the reality is kasi, because I guess a business, when you're into business, you have so many preoccupations, diba? In running the business, that the workers, if they want to get what they really need or what they want, they'll have to demand for it, diba? Kaya may ganong aspeto na pag hindi ka nag-demand, hindi bibigay sa'yo. Right? Diba? Kasi ang pag-business, ang preoccupation nila is how to profit, right? That's the whole point.
Rightfully so, di ba? Pero dapat maalala nila na pag may nag-demand, no?
Yeah, I mean, sa huli, it's about really social limits. There's social limits to profit. So, halimbawa, kung namamatay na yung manggagawa mo, pwede yun, di ba? Parang may limit na, di ba? Kung hindi na disente ang pamumuhay ng manggagawa na nasa empleyo mo, baka dapat hindi mo abutin yung ganong klaseng profit. Hindi na tama doon. In the same way, social limit din yung environmental protection, for example. 'Di ba? Hindi naman pwede kumita ka pero nauubos na pala yung mga puno, yung tubig, yung ganyan. So that's why there's always an because the profit orientation kasi, the logic of profit is sky is the limit, 'di ba? But it can't be that way because there's social limits, no? But even among the OFWs, for example, I'm very involved with OFWs. There are recruitment agencies who talagang by themselves will insist, we're not going to get fees from workers. Kasi yan yung issue na we're not, but they're very few. Okay? Sa kalakhan, yung mga recruitment agencies, kuha talaga yan, 1 month sweldo, ganyan, kasi lalo pa na it's under the law, pwede, 'di ba? So
Placement fees.
Yeah, placement fees. So mas exception yung talagang naniniwala na hindi, pero they lose like millions. But pag tinanong mo sila, they think they're earning enough. 'Di ba? So, kasi imagine mo deploying 3,000 workers, for example. Right?
Yes.
So,
Dami na.
grabe, ang laki nun. Right? And we're deploying 2 million per year.
Yeah, pero
So,
sabi nila wala silang kukuning sweldo. So ano yung pinaka-returns nila doon?
Hindi, kasi syempre meron yung merong administrative fee yan from the employers abroad. Ibig sabihin, sila ang conduit So parang may handling fees din yan.
Ang tinutukoy niyang wala ay yung porsyento per sa sahod nila.
Yes. Ang tinutukoy ko, wala dapat fees na binabayaran yung worker. Ang magbabayad dapat employer. So ang ginagawa nila, employer nagbabayad, pati worker pinapabayad nila. 'Di ba? Ang worker naman nagbabayad kasi para sa kanila, that's the only way to go abroad. They think it's normal.
Sabi, kanina, iniisip ko ano kayo mga pag-uusapan ko. Siguro tahimik lang ako sa session namin mamaya sa Lundagin mo, Beybeh. Kaya narinig ko na si Miss Melay. Parang
pala ang marami kayong Pero Melay, how bad is it for women? For example, itong labor issues sa pandemic.
Okay. For women kasi, of course, they're already embedded in that context, diba, of really high unemployment, high underemployment. But the thing about women workers is that they experience certain problems by virtue of their being women. For example, violence in the workplace, diba? Gender-based violence. So, kahit yung UN Women, may mga nakasulat na dyan na actually tumaas yung kaso ng gender violence during the pandemic. Kasi, parang, enclosed sila. Tapos, meron ding mga, I remember maraming issues din na, we did an article on this for Arate, on the domestic workers. Hirap sila kasi, dahil nandyan yung employer nila, parang wala silang pahinga. Buong araw sila inuutusan. So talaga wala sila.
Di dati, pwedeng manood ba ng TV?
Di ba pwede ka pa magbahinga kung nasa, di ba? Ito talaga.
Siguro kailangan niya, siguro yan yung natin, audience
kami may house.
Kaya naman kung baka namang Ron.
Kami may house kami. So na-imagine ko lang, lagi kami nandito, lagi siya may ginagawa. Kumpara dati na pumapasok kami. Kami. Parang business talaga siya. Yeah. So we have to set it. Tulong time niya yan, wala na after 9 p.m. Pag ganyan kailangan namin gawin yun. Pero I can imagine, dapat yata taasan namin ang sahod.
Yes, dapat taasan ang sahod. Tsaka dapat, hindi siya lahat. Hindi siya lahat. Kami talagang meron kaming chores sa bahay Sino yung maghuhugas ng tanghali? Sino yung maghuhugas ng hapon? Sino ang maglalaban ng linggo? Hindi pwedeng si Yaya lang yan. Diba? Hindi pwede yun yung mag-isa. So, there are limits to what they can
do. Sabi ko nga, ang dami kong naisip na tanong, no? Gusto ko na tanong. So, kung meron nangyaring ganito, who speaks for them? Pero even before that, yun ang una kong tanong, no? Ngayon, nakakanak na ng tanong. How do they even know that there's an injustice or there's something they have to bring.
I
So,
guess
may ganun pa nga eh.
yeah. I guess that's where the labor unions come into the picture, or the workers associations. Okay, unfortunately, that's a very small part of the population of the workforce. So I think the union density, yung proportion ng mga manggagawa na nag-uunion, siguro mga less than 10%. If I'm not mistaken, parang 8.5% lang. So,
So, Melay, yung labor unions, they became weakened during pandemic or ano?
yes,
Since they
because
cannot
of
organize.
course, you're weakened when you lose your members, right?
I see. Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
even before this, very weak na because of the phenomenon of contractualization. Diba? Because hindi na regular yung trabaho nila, contractuals lang sila, disincentive yon to join a union.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi pwede ka maalis. And actually, lahat ng collective bargaining agreements between lang regular workers
Kasi
and
yan, Ron,
management.
you become a member of the union. Mag-aambag ka din doon.
Yes, pero inisip ko lang na, alimbawa, yung ang house help namin, how does, hindi naman niya alam, baka mamaya.
Yeah.
Sabi nga ni
Yeah.
Miss, kami naman, benefits lang at kitang kiniisip ng employer patulas. But hindi nila alam na may social limit na pwede nilang i-bring up. So,
Yeah.
so hindi so
And-
who's
Yeah. There are even, I know a group, for example, they're called United. Mga domestic workers sila, nag-organize talaga sila. Pero simple thing like making sure lang everyone has SSS and pag-ibig on top of the wages, for example.
Education,
'Di ba? Yung parang kasi nasa batas na, may kasambahay law na tayo eh. Pero hindi yan.
Kaso naman,
Pero
hindi naman makapag-day off para asikasuhin
yes.
yun.
Yeah.
Linggo lang mag-day off.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's really also the mindset of government usually is that, we have very good laws. We have a lot of laws, right? But they never question, are workers using these laws? Diba? There's no enabling environment to use this law. So, hindi sapat na sabihin mo sa manggagawa, hoy, may batas dyan on overtime, may batas dyan on ganyan. Diba? Subukan mo kayang tignan siya vis-a-vis yung employer niya, di ba? Tingin mo kaya niya mag-demand or kaya niya magreklamo. Kung may kaso siya,
so that's my
may
next
pang-abukado
question.
ba? Yeah. Yeah.
That's my next question. Who speaks for them? Ano pwede nilang lapitan to at least amplify their concern or articulate their concern if they can?
Yeah.
Meron ba lahat?
Yeah. As I said, there are unions pero the thing is kasi unions are parang dito kasi parang naging kasama yan sa Red Scare eh. Alam mo yun, yung parang I remember even in Ateneo, 'di ba, when we formed ALSFA, parang ang daming na my God, it's going to be militant, it's going to be, that's always the conception.
Yes.
And Jovi, do we look militant? I mean, there's no stereotype. The point is, diba, you can define what your organization will become. So,
but there is also that phenomenon of union busting, diba? 10%
yes.
na lang talagang
Yes.
binabust pa.
Yes. Kasi takot nga sila. Maraming misconception na parang magsasara ang kumpanya pag nag-uunion. But these are basic rights. It's in our constitution.
And
it's
there are
in international standards that we have signed on to as a nation. I mean, 'di ba? Parang minsan nakakagulat lang na naninibago pa yung mga tao. Uy, pwede pala itong i-demand or pwede pala itong right pala natin to. So
ang existence ng labor unions ay dahil, iniisip ko nga yung nag-isip na dapat magkaroon ng labor unions. Ang talagang layunin nila ay tiyakin na buhay. Buhay itong mga batas na ito. Hindi ba na ipapatupad ng madalas para manatiling buhay at para may pag-uusapan yun. No?
Yeah. It's really what?
Iniisip ko kasi nature ng labor union, why would you even form it? It's actually to for your own sake, for your own welfare, di ba? Yun
Yes.
ang unang nakikita
Yes, because there is safety in numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
diba? There's safety in
Yeah.
collective action. And anyway, you have the same interests, diba? So
Exactly, ma'am. Kaya nga sabi ko sa
yeah.
actor, lahat ng celebrities, sa Theatre Actors Guild, isa pa yun, nagsama-sama.
Yeah.
Especially now na it's so difficult to think of what will happen to us at minsan
And
nababarat
think
tayo.
that
We're so
TV
scared na
shows
sabihin
earn
yung
a
demands
lot,
natin.
diba?
Yeah. I mean,
Ano?
and you know, I think the misconception is that if you form a union or if you form an association, that's already reflective of bad employers. Alam mo yun? That's already
Oo.
reflective of ano. No. When you have a workers association or a labor union, it just means, 'di ba? You will be negotiating.
Yeah,
Diba? It doesn't mean like in Ateneo we have ALSFA. ALSFA being there doesn't mean ano yan na bastos na yung Ateneo. Hindi, 'di ba? But there are decisions of the Ateneo administration that we need to question from time to time. 'Di ba? So, kami sa ALSFA, halimbawa, very, very aware kami dyan. And, you don't fix what's not broken. But when it's broken, you don't keep silent. Diba?
Oo.
You
And there's no
so,
perfect system.
Yes. It's just really governance. It's participating in governance. Diba? A lot of the
Mr.
unions
Ray,
naman. Yes?
Ano nga po yung buong kahulugan ng ALSPA?
Ateneo Loyola Schools Faculty
Okay.
Association.
Kala ko naman there's labor in the name. Wala pala, no? Faculty Association. So iba siya sa faculty.
Well, kasi kung ang
Iba siya sa faculty
teachers
club.
are part of labor is still in contention.
Yeah, but I know there's faculty
Really?
club in the LS. Pero there's
Yeah.
faculty club in the LS. Iba pa yon. Iba pa yung faculty club, faculty forum. Yung faculty association.
Iba pa yun. Ron, ang kaibahan is that this is a self-organization. Meron kasi kaming school forum, but that's also the admin determining, for example, what will be the agenda, what will be the ano. So, the ALSFA is different in the sense na kami talaga yon and we set our agenda. Yeah. Diba, Jovi?
Pero Melay,
Never heard. Kala ko sa forum din yun. Not because hindi kailangan, ha?
kinakabahan na po ako. Baka kung sa mapunta yung usapan natin.
Hindi naman.
Kinakabahan.
Iniisip ko lang, kasi sa high school, halimbawa, wala naman kaming ganyan. If you have something like that, kasi madalas pinag-usapan na rin naman namin yan.
Yeah, dapat talaga meron kayo ron. Yeah.
Pero wala kaming formal na at minsan magkakaroon kami ng plenary session with the faculty. Magtatanong sa amin ng odds and ends. Parang nakasabog pa siya. So siguro kung may ALSPA of sort, at least na napifilter, o napifilter na nadidistill.
Pero di ba, Melay, tinanong pa yan kung faculty union or faculty association?
Yeah. I think, well, of course, yung union kasi, ang union kasi, the state will come into the picture. That's the basic difference. So the Department of Labor essentially will come into the picture. So there are more laws like, for example, you'll have to have a certain percentage of the workforce vote for you. You have to have, you have to go into collective bargaining. You have to, kasi the idea actually of industrial peace is that mag-negotiate kayo, okay? So yung negotiations nyo, yun yung terms of work in the next 3 to 5 years. So in the next 3 to 5 years, ang employers dapat hindi mag-violate ng terms na yan. Ganon din yung mga manggagawa. Yeah? So ang assumption, wala ka ring welga halimbawa in the years na nagpapatupad yung term. So there's peace. It's a negotiated peace. It's not peace na isang side lang ang magsasabi kung ano dapat, di ba? Parang ganon. So
parang ang lumalabas ngayon ng mga issues, work hours, tapos yung mga domestic workers.
No, but even from our end, we have mental health issues, for
mental
example.
Health issues, for example, Melay. Ano ang mga mental health issues na kinakaharap ngayon ng labor?
Hindi.
Tapos mamaya si Ron yung teachers.
Hindi, i-frame ko lang yung Miss Melly, bago nyo sagutin yun na nga eh. Kasi yan yung pinakauna nating tanong kanina, napahapyaw lang natin na pag-usapan. Pareho ba ang operations ngayon? Baka mamaya yung 8-hour ay kailangan i-redefine. Yun na nga, kasama na yung si Sir Jovi, yung may mental. Halimbawa kami, even in learning, no? Sabi ko nga palagi, ang mandate sa aming mga teachers, lalo mga estudyante yan, at parang empleyado na rin namin estudyante, ang priority namin, ito yung in this order, wellness, inclusivity, learning. Pangatlo lang yung learning, pinakuna sa lahat, wellness.
High school.
So, wag tayong, kumbaga, this is so new. So, naisip ko, with all those considerations sa employee naman, sa workforce, dapat may version din na gano'n. So, yun nga.
Yeah.
So, tumingit lang ako sa tanong ni Sir Jovi, no?
Yeah.
Pero parang how do you redefine now?
Isipin
Kumbaga,
paano,
on the spot, di ba?
Ginagamit natin yung forum natin.
Yeah. Well, I think it should be a combination of justice and compassion, right? May justice in terms of, for the hours rendered, for the work done, it has to be justly compensated. But at the same time, there has to be compassion. Kasi halimbawa, dapat maintindihan mo, 'di ba, yung manggagawang yan o yung teacher na yan, di yan nakapasok kasi namatay yung tatay niya dahil sa COVID or nagkasakit yung lola niya or 'di ba, there are those circumstances that you would not have experienced if it were not for COVID. So that's what COVID presents. There are health issues na, 'di ba? At the end of the day, you will drop everything 'di ba? If your loved one is sick, why will I work if somebody is dying, 'di ba?
Plus the demands of the work. We used to our homes naman are sometimes not made for teaching. Lalo na yung mga nasa dorm lang, ganyan. So, dati may classroom, dati may lugar. Ngayon, ako mismo mag-create nun para sa sarili ko. And how is that so? Nasa bahay nga ako Hindi pwedeng tahimik.
Yeah. Isa pa yan. Okay lang sana kung malaki bahay nyo. Diba? Tingnan mo sa bahay namin, 4 kami na nagtatrabaho at nag-aaral. My God, ilan lang ang private rooms namin. Diba? Hindi naman kami mansion or whatever. So, pag halimbawa may interview na ganyan, nagsasalitan kami dito ka sa kwarto. And it's, 'di ba, parang kaya nga dapat malakas yung mental health mo kasi ang dami mong issue. Yung imaginein mo, you work in your bedroom.
What are you supposed to be doing in the bedroom ba, Dr. Abao?
Ano na?
What are you supposed to be doing in the bedroom?
Definitely not working.
At saka, yung pag umiyak yung anak mo, pag yung may nag-deliver ng Lazada, it's like sa
lecture
actor,
ka, nag-aano yung Lazada.
Yung aso mo, nagkukulit, hindi mo naman, so, ibig sabihin, it's for a theater person, halimbawa.
Pero ito, Melay,
in one stage, you have to play a lot of roles. You have to play a lot of roles in one stage. Hindi katulad dati. I am Romeo at home and I am Hamlet in school.
And Juliet at work.
Parang parang ganun. Pero that I think is yun ang kailangan ma-appreciate.
Pero Melay, sana makiintindihan. I wanted to ask, and this is a serious question, does the Mental Health Act stipulate what the responsibility of employers as far as mental health?
I'm not so sure. But definitely, merong responsibility ang kasi kahit sa DOLE pinag-usapan na yan yung mental health as part of, it's part of the health issues of the workers. Pero the thing is kasi, hanggang ngayon, even with the Mental Health Act, may stigma talaga yung mental health issue.
Saka yung sabihin, may recollection ba? Bakit meron pa kayong mental health?
Yeah. Yung parang nakakahiya ka kung meron ka nun. Parang ganun pa din. COVID nagat lahat. Mahihiya ka pa ba kung, di ba? So, parang there really are mental health issues.
Baka pwede na natin idamay itong tanong ni Miss Leslie Advincula Lopez. Speaking of Advincula.
Si Leslie.
Hi, Melay. How is this compassion? How is this compassion translated to emerging health issues like vaccinations for COVID-19? What is the position of ALSPA? I think it is particularly for the ALSPA. You're the
Yeah.
president now. So,
Yeah.
meron bang update?
Oh, well, yung sa vaccination program, so far, ang naging pronouncement lang, si Father Bobby up in the last faculty day forum said that there will be a vaccination program for employees. Kaso he said regular employees. So,
Okay.
we're trying to clarify that now. So that is Also's position because
Tsaka
it sounds,
if they are available.
of course, procurement
Diba?
will always be an issue for everyone in the Philippines.
Ah,
Ang problema natin sa Pilipinas, 30,000 pa lang ang nababakunahan, excellent work na, di ba? wala tayong indicator kung kailan natin sasabihin na
Failed.
better na, 'di ba? Wala, basta lang meron parang galing 'di ba? Pero ilan tayo dapat mga 70 million ang nababakunahan. So anyway, yon. So we think
So,
the pronouncement we need to clarify if that's really just for regular workers because there's a lot of faculty who are part-timers or who
Yun yung
are
tanong nila.
full-time.
yun nga po follow-up question ni Leslie ay, what about the part-timers? Yun ang hindi pa malinaw sa
Definitely, we
pronouncement.
will work for that because it doesn't make sense to inoculate.
Bakit? Pag
Only
part-time ka ba, meron ka ng immunity?
Di ba? Parang, di ba? Kung papasok ka, di papasok ka. Di ba? Pwede kang mag-transmit. Di ba? So, kailangan inoculated lahat. Hindi naman, but I don't know. We will have to clarify it kasi it's also possible.
Been a problem naman, di ba, Mela? Yung
No, but it's also possible that Father Bobby, we don't know So he might have been taken out of context or he might not really mean that. Okay? Or if he means that, we'll have to engage him kasi if, for example, ang problema ng Ateneo ay pera, walang pera. Seryoso kayo? Wala tayong pera? Diba? Tayo pa? Maghahanap tayong pera. Kung kailangan, hindi pwedeng dahilan walang pera. Kasi proven na yan nakakahanap tayo ng pera pag kailangan natin.
Kahit wala tayong pera, nakakahanap tayo ng pera.
Yes. That's a political decision to look for money for your employees. That's an important political decision.
At siguro in the Tubayanihan laws, it's probably there somewhere.
Well, we also don't know where all the money is there.
Yeah, yun nga lang.
Diba? Yun din. I mean, look at the US, for example. Diba? No? 100 million in 100 days. And they did it in 60
they have
days.
the relief for the workers. Not only for workers, but the unemployed.
Yeah.
Ako,
They
ang
have a
tanong
lot
ko, Miss Melay, ang tanong ko talaga, yun nga, I've been part of groups, theater groups, and celebrity groups. And I realized that talagang kailangan nilang isulat, particularly what their needs are. So, para sa akin, parang may kailangan mag-redefine kanya-kanyang sarili. So, di ko alam sino nang sumulat para sa teachers, sino nang sumulat para dito. Kumbaga, nangangapa rin lahat Somebody has to plan and understand and codify it.
Mela, what can be done, especially by our students? Kasi parang itong pagiging man and woman for others, hindi pa masyadong nasasalin sa labor rights.
Well, una sa lahat, yung mga, I guess the way to go is really just to help whenever and wherever you can, right? I'm also part of Pangga Kasangga, which is Alsfa, Sanggunian, and others na grupo. We're helping. As of the latest list, there are 209 in our own backyard who have been displaced. Okay?
In our own backyard? What does that mean, in our own backyard?
In Ateneo.
Ateneo, okay.
Yes, of course. But of course, it can be said that they are not directly employed by Ateneo. But the point is they are servicing our community. So we should consider them as part of our community, right? Our canteen workers, our security forces. So marami dyan. 209, at least yung sa listahan ng Sanggunian. Ang galingan ng Sanggunian, may listahan talaga sila. So we have raised some funds for them. But you will need to eat 3 times a day, every day. You can, diba? So whatever we raise will not be enough. So we need, for example, we need them to do some kind of business, for example, some negosyo, ganyan, or income generation. So, yun, maraming,
TV has entered into enhanced GCQ.
well, isa pa yan,
Yeah.
'di ba? Kasi nga, parang, I don't really know how decisions are made in this government na parang, 'di ba parang a few weeks back lang nagsabi na, oh, we will open up the economy.
Yes.
Tapos ngayon, they're saying, oh, curfew na, etc., etc. They're not even calling it a lockdown. But for all intents and purposes, it's a lockdown, right? So, it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be another topic.
Pero
So,
yun nga rin
yes,
po ang tanong ko, wala yata, wala pang nagsusulat. Everyone is, yung kwento ko sa inyo before the show began, Miss Melay, how's teaching? Well, ang na-realize ko sa teaching, okay naman, nasasanay na, pero what I realize is, kailangan ko pala ng debriefing. So, dati kasi sa eskwela, pagkatapos mo mag-classroom, makakapunta ka sa workroom nyo, tapos makakausap mo yung teacher mo, tapos kaya lalabas ka na sandali, pagpapahangin ka, dito wala. It's really a solo flight,
Yeah.
task. Kaya
Marami
pala
nag-live nun.
nakakapagod yung...
Yeah. You know,
So,
Ron,
ibig
the
ko lang
way
sabihin,
we
wala pa nagsusulat na mga yan. Nobody
Yeah.
appreciates that. And what is existing now are the old regulations and rules. But the point is this particular need that I myself just realized that I didn't know about that. Ako pala, kailangan ko yun. Kailangan ko may makausap.
Umikot-ikot ka lang sa campus, nakakatulong yung dati.
Yes,
Para lang
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
yun nga.
Ron, the way we organized ALSA, for example, we had a survey. Okay? And it was the results of the survey that really compelled us to form an association. Kasi parang totoo pala talaga yung naramdaman ko na ganito ang issue natin. Di ba? Parang kasi lumalabas, uy, marami pala kami na may ganong issue. So, yeah, it's really a coming together of knowing that, you know, you have certain interests and you have certain rights that are all practically the same.
Alsa, natutuwa ko dun sa United, yung kinwento nyo, Miss Melay, natutuwa ko ng mga kasambahay. Natutuwa ko din sa ginawa ng aktor, ginawa ng Theater Actors Guild. So everyone is just strike the numbers nga para magkaalaman na at para lumabas na ito.
We have to work on our own workplaces, 'di ba?
Yeah.
We also change the world by improving our own workplaces.
As my father would always say, charity begins at home.
Yeah, but at the same time, you are stuck. Yun ang irony dun eh. Kung kailan tayo nakakulong sa mga room natin, ngayon tayo parang kailangan magsama-sama at magkarinigan. At
Mela, is it more difficult to organize the...
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It's more difficult. Pero I'm always of the opinion kasi that, you know, COVID is the problem. So we don't wait until the problem is over. Diba? We don't wait to act until COVID is over because matagal pa siya maging over. Diba?
Yeah. And it's really, you know, and as you said, yung iba ginagawa lang siyang pretext to to justify what some practices na nandun na ever since.
Yes.
Medyo naintindihan ko yun na hindi masyado, sir. Example nga, ginagamit yung COVID para maging excuse for lower salaries, ganyan.
Yes.
Ano ibig sabihin?
Yes, exactly. Ron.
Yes. Maraming ganon na parang, wala na tayong kita. So, trabaho ka pero half na muna yung sweldo mo ha, kahit pareho lang yung trabaho, yung mga ganon.
O yung ganito, tama ba to yung every other day na lang papasok?
Anong ibig sabihin?
Yung hindi na everyday papasok.
Depende nga kung anong klaseng manggagawa ka, di ba?
Kasi I mean, that's why they have to negotiate nga eh. Kasi may kalagayan din yung business, di ba? Halimbawa, paano kung talagang wala na siya customer? Anong gagawin? Di ba? Parang, di ba? So,
kasali ako sa gym. Bawal na naman ng gym ngayon. So, ano gagawin nila? I wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Diba?
imagining, ay, buti na lang, baka ma-exempt ako sa monthly ko. Pero at the same time, ano nga yun, magsasara na yun.
Yes.
So that-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And under those circumstances, without a workers association, they're on their own. Diba?
Oh,
Ganun naman yun eh. Parang, it's like, to me, it's like, diba? It's always just exit or voice, right? It's like, when you eat in a restaurant, you don't like the food that the chef has given you. You only have two choices. Diba? You go to another restaurant, or you negotiate with the chef. Chef, can you please cook my food again?
Yeah.
Right? Or
Yeah.
can you, diba? Ganun yun eh. It's
so
the same for...
exit or voice. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sana kung pinag-iriwang natin si San Jose this year, dapat nandun din yung consciousness na paano natin talaga itataguyod yung karapatan ng manggagawa. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alam mo, noong 1980s, yung Workers' College, meron pa kami nung pastoral formation ng mga manggagawa. As in, nagre-retreat pa, nagre-recollection yung mga manggagawa.
Oh, I'm sure.
Nakakatuwa.
Para hindi maging
Maging
Parang hindi masyadong maging maging matasali para maging matasali. Kaya nawala tuloy yung itatanong ko.
Then ako
Grabe.
parang ngayon napupulot ko kahit sa maikling panahon na kasama natin si Miss Melay, how important it is na magkaroon ng workers college or workers formation of sorts, no?
Yes.
Formation. At saka yung
Yun
workers
itatanong ko, Melay.
workers association, kahit kung ayaw tawaging union, di workers association.
Yeah.
Kung gusto niyo
Organize,
for a workers meeting or workers huddle na lang itawag natin.
Correct,
But
huddle.
important, kung gusto niyo i-improvise, wala akong pakialam, this needs to happen, no? So kung huddle na siya,
Teka muna, Ron. Kamawala tayo ng oras. Can I ask this question? Mel, I'm sure you've been asked this question. Why is protecting labor rights good for the economy? Better for why would it really make the economy better?
Why would it make the economy better? Protecting labor rights? Yeah. Well, protecting labor rights is not about making the economy better, right?
Yes,
It's making the economy sustainable. Because at the end of the day, diba, if you're very oppressive to your workers, at the end of the day, baka sa kinalaunan, there will be no more workers to oppress.
Yeah.
Kasi na-oppress mo na lahat. Napagod na sila lahat. At, diba, ibig sabihin,
lalayatan ka nila, di ba? And they will
Yes.
wala silang simpatya dun sa kumpanya mo.
yes. So it starts with that mindset, that labor is not a cost of production.
It is not
It's
a
a-
cost of production. It is
it's-
not an expense.
It's a resource.
Yeah.
Diba? Kaya halimbawa, ako, I'm very, when they talking about, for example, dati yung, kailangan magtanggalan ng part-time, ng ganyan-ganyan. Ang sa akin, don't ever tell me that this is about numbers. Because, yung pinag-uusapan yung part-time, si Arj Aguirre yan, si Miguel Rivera yan, si Oliver Quintana yan, mas magaling pa yan kesa sa amin na regular. Yan ang tatanggalin mo? Hindi kami papayag. So, it's not just the numbers. It's people, it's resources. So, if you want to maintain your
It's what they call
workforce,
talent management. Tawag nila ngayon dyan, talent management.
No, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
but
Jovi,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Diba?
Talent management. So would you
Yeah.
allow your talents to just
Yeah.
be oppressed?
And especially in the academe, when you think about it, what I teach as a full-timer and what the part-timer teaches as a part-timer is practically the same. Right?
Same, yeah.
I
And
mean, it's the same
the
course.
potential for the student that they teach to make a difference in the world is the same.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
to me, okay, sige, may part-time pero dapat malinaw may rights ka. Hindi ka second class dahil lang part-time ka. Mas konti lang yung work hours mo siguro or yung units mo. Pero at the end of the day, what should define labor is human capital. What are your capacities? 'Di ba? Yun nga ang basic issue ngayon. Why do you hire people? You hire people because they're good at their jobs. Today, people hire people just because they're poor. 'Di ba? because they're women, because, they won't ask for more, right? So that's not supposed to be the way to go, right? You hire them because they're skilled and they're good at their jobs. Even domestic work is a skill. Ang hirap kaya mag-isip kung anong lulutuin, di ba? Araw-araw.
Pwede ako
Oh my
marunong
God.
maglinis. Hindi ako pwede magwalis.
Oo nga, di ba? Parang, ano yun? Or halimbawa, nagpipintura ka. 20 years ka na nagpipintura, hindi ka pa rin skilled? Ano yun? Di ba? Di ba? Ganun yun.
Tsaka yun, talagang karunungan yun.
Yes. Yes.
field,
But we have certain conventions kasi and certain stereotypes of, parang
at that brings us full square to St. Joseph na talaga yung kanyang karunungan ay nandun sa kanyang ginawa with his hands.
yeah.
So talagang kailangan pag-isipan ito at gawin.
Yeah.
Yung practice,
In a way,
ano
ako
yung
inisip-
ginagawa natin.
Yeah. Naisip ko nga, Miss Melay, na abstract kasi ang pagiging manggagawa. By abstract, I mean, lahat kasi tayo manggagawa. So kahit sabihin pati yung employer, ultimately kailangan niyang igalang yung pagiging manggagawa. Kasi yun ay dignifying
Yeah.
humanity.
Yeah.
Yun
Moral
hindi siya service lang. Parang hindi output lang yan. Basta yung pinaka-manggagawa ay, ngayon ko lang, I'm just thinking loud, parang yun yung kailangan ingatan na
and yung sa question of what can our students do, I guess those among our students who will become business people themselves in the future, diba? I hope they do better at labor practices, right? I mean, diba? I
Yes.
hope that the future Ateneans, diba, will stop contractualization or will do better than, kasi tignan mo naman yung current nating state. Anong klaseng society yan? Na 3.8 million unemployed, 10.8 million underemployed. Gusto mo ba talaga ng ganyang society na may underclass sa, di ba? Sa working class? Parang hindi siya talaga magandang society. And that also explains a lot why we are very polarized, why there's so many divides. No? So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think, yes, Ron, labor rights is at the forefront of the pandemic. So siguro dapat mas marami pang nag-uusap tungkol dito at kumikilos.
Kasi palagi ko ang uring manggagawa ay hindi isang faction ng society. Ang uring manggagawa is a faction ng pagkatao mo. Parang lahat tayo manggagawa.
Yes.
So, yun ang na-realize ko ngayon. Kailangan mo siyang maalala. Kasi kahit maging boss ka later on, alam mo rin na paano maging empleyado at empleyado ka ng kung sinong iba pa. At everyone is somebody else's client and everyone is somebody else's intern. Parang yun lang yung nakikita ko na kahit it takes the success of one begets the other one. Parang yun ang palagi ko. Yung tanong mo kasi kanina, medyo fasting sa akin. Kahit walang ka makitang diretso sa economy, parang hindi, yun yung human resource mo. Yun yung, kaya siya mag-exist. Parang yun ang naisip ko lang ngayon habang naikinig sa usapan.
I think we really have to reorient, I don't know, a lot of things, no? Diba? Yeah.
All right, Melay.
Okay.
We have reached the end of our rope for this afternoon. Hopefully, mas marami may mga ma-inspire na pag-usapan pa ito no sa mga shows nila.
O Ron, ha? Hintayin ko yung organize kayo, Ron.
Actually, I'm so fired up now.
It begins with one with one meeting.
With one candle.
Yes.
Thank
And
you
you'll
very
be
much.
surprised. Yeah. Okay.
Maraming salamat, Miss Melay.
Maraming salamat.
Thanks.
Lalo kong namahal itong pagiging manggagawa dahil sa session natin ngayong hapon. At sana yung mga nakikinig din sa atin o yung makikinig sa atin na hindi nakikinig ngayon sa ibang panahon nila pakikinggan. I hope this episode actually helps them appreciate more what and pray to St. Joseph as their patron saint to at least enlighten everyone about itong pagiging uring manggagawa. Oo nga. Thank you, Miss Melay.
Salamat. Sige.
Okay.
Salamat. Salamat sa inyo po.
Bye.
No? Salamat sa mga nakinig. Good afternoon po, Sir Jovi, Miss Melay.
Alright.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Masayang
Okay.
bye-bye. Thank you.
Meron? Ano nga ba ang meron? Paano nga bang mabuhay ng tapat sa meron? Don't you wish you can relive your philo classes? The terror teachers? The terrible oral exams? Or the even terrifying but liberating and life-changing aha moments? Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Here's your chance! Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Kasama ang mga pilosopong sina Jovi Miroy at Ron Capinding. Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Leaping upward, leaping forward. Lundagin mo, Beybeh! Leaping to greater heights, to greater wisdom, to greater magis. Lundag na, Ateneo!